This is every Easter egg ranked from easiest to hardest. I did a video like this a couple months ago, or actually it was more like a year ago, ranking every Easter egg in terms of how much I personally enjoyed them, but that's not what this video is. Today we are ranking every map based on how difficult it is for a first-time player to complete it. I've beaten every Easter egg in COD Zombies history, some of them a lot more than I like to admit, so I feel like I can properly rank all of these. Also, what is the hardest Easter egg that you've ever completed on this list? Let me know that down below in the comments, and with that being said, let's jump straight into this ranking. Alright, so we got 5 tiers here. We got the easiest tier, which is a snooze fest. We got easy, somewhat difficult, really difficult, and you gotta give up your social life if you want to beat this. So I'm sure you can already imagine which maps are going in the top tier, but let's not worry about that right now. Let's pick a map at random. We got every single Treyarch and non-Treyarch map here. I'm gonna close my eyes. Which one did I get? Zombies in Spaceland. This is a crazy one to get first. Now here's the thing about Infinite Warfare's Easter eggs. They're pretty solid, but they're not that challenging for the most part. So I think Zombies in Spaceland goes in easy. All it is crafting the Steadicom, which is 3 parts, doing 3 defense lockdowns, and then the boss fight. Pretty straightforward Easter egg. Next Easter egg is... What, are you kidding me? Raven the Red. I swear, I'm closing my eyes when I'm picking these. Somehow, I picked the launch map for Infinite Warfare and the DLC 1 map for Infinite Warfare back to back. Well, I guess it is pretty fitting because they're basically the same quest. Does Rave belong in Snooze Fest? Yeah, it does. It does. Because Rave is basically Spaceland's Easter egg, but without a hard boss fight. Yeah, Rave's Easter egg is basically doing 3 challenges, similar to the 3 defense steps on Spaceland, and then you beat the boss fight. That's it. Alright, you know what? Give me a Treyarch map. Don't give me a non-Treyarch yet. Let's save those for later on. I got Zetsubo no Shima. Okay. Now, despite what I personally think about some of the BO3 Easter eggs, I'm trying as hard as possible to leave my bias out in this video. I'm going to put it in somewhat difficult just because it is a modern Blundell quest where you have to grab a bunch of things, you have to do a bunch of things. The steps aren't straightforward, there's not 3 steps in an Easter egg. Although the boss fight is a lot easier in Zetsubo than it is in Spaceland, getting up to that point in Zetsubo is much harder than Spaceland, so that's why it's ahead. Ancient Evil. Okay, now, if this was ranking based off worst to best, this would be going in the best. But this isn't. This is ranking on how difficult they are to complete. And with that being said, it's definitely not a snooze fest. Does it go in easy? Yeah, I think it does. There's no complex or tedious step in this Easter egg like there is in maps like Voyage of Despair or Garage Kroby with the Valve step. There's nothing like that in this Easter egg. It's a fairly straightforward Easter egg. If you're a casual player and you don't know where to start with modern Easter eggs, I think Ancient Evil is the best one to pick. Carrier from Exo Zombies. Oh my god. Again, if this was ranking from worst to best, it'd be down here, but it's not. So, for the first time in tier list history, Carrier from Exo Zombies is going in the top. This looks so weird. It is a very difficult Easter egg. By far the most difficult Exo Zombies Easter egg that there is. To beat this Easter egg, you have to do some Plinko, which is a step that you probably won't have memorized, so you have to pull up a cheat sheet every time. You have to rely on RNG to get a beer bottle, and then complete a drunk parkour around the map. And then you have to charge up a teleporter, which takes about 15 rounds to do. So after you get off this step, you'll be on like round 25, round 30, maybe higher, depending on how efficient you are. And then you gotta rely on more RNG to fish up other things after you finish the teleporter, because we're using the BO2 part system here, where you can't pick up more than 1 part at a time. And then you have to wait like 3 or 4 more rounds after you find that iPad on the island. It's a very round-gated Easter egg. It's not a good Easter egg, and it's a very difficult Easter egg as well. Buried Max's Side. Okay, now, for the 4-player quest, I'm not going to include the fact that you need 4 players to complete, otherwise, like every BO1 quest would be a top. But Buried has the sharpshooter step at the very end of the Easter egg, no matter which side you're doing. And I don't think that alone puts it at the top. If you don't know what the sharpshooter step is, you and your team of 4 need to shoot, I think it's 22 targets each, so a total of 88 targets around the map without missing a single one. Like, if one player misses 1 target and everyone else hits all their targets, you gotta redo the step. It's a very difficult step. But aside from that, it's a Jimmy Zielinski quest. I mean, Really difficult is a pretty solid place to put it. Buried is definitely the hardest Jimmy Zielinski quest out there. Attack of the radioactive thing. Why do they want me to get rid of IW zombies so fast? Okay, so here's the thing. Here, you know what? I'm gonna make a new tier just for attack. And we're gonna name... Nope, that's not what I wanted to do. I don't know how to work this website. We're gonna rename this to Tedious. And that is exactly where Attack of the Radioactive thing is going. Because here's the thing about Attack's Easter egg. In terms of how difficult the steps are, it's a very easy quest. Easy boss fight, easy Easter egg, easy everything. But oh my god, is this one of the most tedious Easter eggs ever. It might be the most tedious one, I don't know. If you don't know this map, to start this Easter egg, you need to collect 3 mirror parts, 6 zombie body parts, 3 pack-a-punch parts, 3 parts for the power switch, and 3 parts for the chemistry step, which, spoiler alert, you need to do chemistry in this Easter egg. Legit chemistry. You need to craft a bomb to kill the radioactive thing. And to do that, you need to go around the map and grab like one of 50 different parts around the map. And you need to add and multiply, and I think you need to subtract as well. Like I said, it's not a difficult Easter egg. It is just very tedious. Attack is one of 2 maps in Zombies history, that I know of at least, that has a whole Google spreadsheet dedicated to beating a specific step. But Attack the Radioactive thing, tedious, tedious, tedious. You know what it is, chat? It's tedious. Black Ops 3 Origins, okay. I am including how much Gobblegums can help you in these quests. So since the BO3 mechanics are so much better than the BO2 mechanics and so much more noob friendly with the Gobblegums and everything, and the 3-hit down, this goes at the top of somewhat difficult. One might argue tedious, and honestly, actually, I think it is going to tedious. Because if you don't know how Origins works, on Black Ops 2 Origins, there is a glitch to skip the worst step in this Easter egg, like by far. And yes, that glitch does exist on Black Ops 3 now, but it is so difficult to do, especially compared to the Black Ops 2 version. So after you build and upgrade all 4 staffs, the very next thing you have to do is take all 4 staffs and place them in the robots at random, which good luck doing that. And then running all the staffs back down. It's a pretty easy Easter egg. I mean, I think everyone's done Origins before, right? I'm gonna put it below Attack and Tedious. Shaolin Shuffle, okay, I guess we only have one more IW map left after this. You know what? I think this also goes in Tedious, if I'm gonna be honest. Yeah, no, definitely. This Easter egg is so tedious. Before you can even start this Easter egg, you have to get to round 5, first off. And then the first Easter egg, you have to follow a rat around the map. A literal rat. And you have to follow him to, I think it's 5, maybe it's 6 different cages that he'll travel to, which he'll end up going across the whole map like 4 times. Then after that, you have to look for 6 symbols with a temporary eye scanner, which reveals the symbols. And I think there's like 20 spawn locations. You have to find 6, and they only spawn in 1 at a time. And then after that, you have to spell out a random word, and it could legit be a random word. It could be Willard Wyler, it could be roller coaster, it could be zombie. Then after that, I think that's the end of the tedious Easter egg steps, but still, it's a pretty tedious quest. Call of the Dead. Okay, I don't think it belongs in Snooze Fest. This could change, but I'm just gonna put it at easy for now. Okay, last gen Horizon Draft. I'm gonna ignore the last gen Easter eggs because I've never done them. Let me know in the comments if you want me to do the last gen Easter eggs. 200 likes and I'll make it happen. Let's pick normal Horizon Draft since I got last gen. Normal Horizon Draft, it's like almost default to just put at the top, but no, it's not going at the top of this ranking. Is it more challenging than Zetsubo? I'm going to say yes, just because the boss fight is way more difficult than Zetsubo's. It's a pretty straightforward Easter egg. You gotta build a bow, shoot 4 wisps, go back in time, play Samantha Says, shoot Dempsey out the sky, fill up 4 soul boxes, go back in time again, and then the boss fight. The boss fight itself is relatively challenging for a first-time player. Again, managing your Ragnaroks to stay charged and everything can be a pain for a new player. And if you're not running head drama, then the Panzers will eat you alive most likely. So, somewhat difficult for Horizon Draft. Oh boy. I got the one, chap. I got the one. Obviously, whether you love this map or you hate this map, this is the most difficult Easter egg of all time. Blood of the Dead is one of those maps where it looks like hell on earth for a first-time player. But when you actually take the time to learn all the ins and outs of the map, you'll come to realize that it's not as challenging as everyone makes it out to be. But in case you don't know Blood's Easter egg, let me run it down real quick for you. You gotta get Shield Blast and get the spoon, unlock a secret room in the warden's office, find 4 birds, do Morse code and escort a ghost, get more Shield Blasts, escort a ghost from the cafeteria to the warden's office, get more Shield Blasts, fill up a soul box in the showers, get more Shield Blasts, play Samantha Says, translate the symbols, and shock the ghost in the power room, get more Shield Blasts, and Shield Blast the ghost to stop him from killing another ghost. That's it. That's all you have to do. Simple, right? Just do all that and you'll be good. In all seriousness though, this is the hardest Easter egg in Zombies history. And if you need help beating it, I will leave a link on the screen right now in the top right corner to my Blood of the Dead Easter egg guide. I think it's the best one on this platform that you'll find. And next up we get Descent. Descent's not a hard Easter egg. There's a couple hard steps, but it's not Carrier. It's not Attack of the Radioactive thing. I think it's somewhat difficult. The only step in this Easter egg that is a massive pain is the EMZ step, where you have to let, I think it's like 15 EMZs shock you in a corner to disable your exosuit. Really challenging step. Good luck not dying on it. But outside of that, the challenges are pretty easy. We got our second snooze fest of the video, Classified. Very, very, very easy. You gotta collect 4 codes, which take basically no effort to unlock. Then you gotta input the codes and survive on Groom Lake for 3 rounds. The fact that the world record on solo for this map is under 5 minutes tells you all you need to know. Oh boy. Oh boy. Instinctively, I just want to put this in trash. I don't know if y'all caught that, but The Darkest Shore. Now, out of any zombies game with Easter eggs, World War II Zombies is definitely the one I know the least about. But in the 3 or 4 times I've completed the Darkest Shore's Easter egg, that just made me throw up in my mouth. It's a very challenging Easter egg. To beat this Easter egg, you have to do a bunch of really difficult and really tedious steps, especially for solo. Like turning off valves while they're sprinting zombies and sprinting bosses and flames coming out of the ground, and playing hide and seek with a moisture in the fog, and escorting a whistling all around the map to grab random perks in a random order that can easily mess up if you don't do it right, to the pest step where you literally have to do trick shots on a zombie to beat it. And then there's the boss fight. Oh my god, the boss fight. Even though I despise this boss fight, it is very difficult. It's difficult for the wrong reasons, but it's difficult. You have to take out 4 mecha moistures, I think that's what they're called. Basically a buffed up version of the normal boss in this map. And they can spawn in at the same time, and there's fog everywhere, and you have to kill them, and it's just a massive pain. Especially the second section, which also spawns in a Brenner, and the aforementioned flames in the ground will come back up here. Very difficult. You know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, I think you do have to give up your social life to beat the Darkest Shore. It definitely does not belong in the same tier as Buried. That's for damn sure. Tortured Path Part 1. Okay. The Tortured Path Easter eggs, for the most part, are pretty easy to do, but with that being said, you have to do them on a round that the game wants you to, otherwise you can't do it. But Part 1's pretty easy, honestly. You know what, I'm just gonna get the rest of the Tortured Path out the way. The Tortured Path Part 2, maybe it's just me, but I've always found this one incredibly difficult. It takes place on a mini Voyage of Despair with teleporting zombies, which, regardless how you feel about that statement, makes it really challenging. And you have to escort a fish, but just the teleporting zombies alone, I think, just puts it in really difficult, if I'm gonna be honest. And Tortured Path Part 3, this is a snooze fest. Honestly, I think this is easier than Classified, if I'm gonna be honest. From what I remember about Part 3, it's basically just brute forcing 3 codes in a door and then placing the Sword of Barbarossa in the middle section of the map. That's it. Max's Side of Transit. I think this belongs at the very bottom of somewhat difficult. To beat this Easter egg, you have to build the turbine, turn on and off the power, and kill the Avogadro under the pylon in the cornfield. That's the whole Easter egg. I might have forgotten a step, but somewhat difficult. Let me just get Richtofen side out of the way as well. I don't think it goes above Shaolin. I'm gonna put it at the very bottom of tedious. So Richtofen inside of the Easter egg is different from Max's side. To beat this version, you have to turn on the power, you have to build the jet gun, which, reminder, the BO2 part system only allows you to pick up one part at a time, which means you have to run around this gigantic map like 3 or 4 times. You have to open up all 8 light portals with the denizens, and you need 25 explosive kills under the same pylon in the cornfield, and then you have to hit 4 EMP grenades on 4 lights to turn them all off. It's definitely more difficult and more tedious than Max's side, but I don't think it goes any higher than that. BO3 Moon. Okay. I think this goes in easy. So BO3 Moon is just BO1 Moon, except you can somewhat get rid of the RNG with Immolation Liquidation and Raindrop, but there's no difficult step in this Easter egg. The most difficult step is having the box not screw you over. BO3 Shangri-La. Shangri-La. I haven't done this Easter egg in quite a long time, so I'm trying to remember all the steps in my head right now. Yeah, honestly, this Easter egg is just about what I remember it being. Not difficult. I mean, as long as you don't have brain-dead teammates. The only step that you might have trouble on is the napalm zombie step, where you gotta escort them down the tunnel. Besides that step, it's a pretty straightforward Easter egg. This video is gonna be really long, so I'm just gonna rapid fire the next couple. BO3 Ascension, snooze fest. I mean, it's the second easiest Easter egg of all time, but with Gobblegums. Speaking of which, Ascension, BO1, also goes in snooze fest. Really easy Easter egg. Darius, same thing. You shoot the panel with the pack-a-punch gun and then shoot 3 teddy bears, and that's it. The Giant, it's the same exact thing, except there's a reward on top of it. So, I guess, technically, since there's one more step, I'm going to put it above Darius. BO1 Shangri-La, I'm going to put in really difficult, because unlike BO3, you don't have Gobblegum, so you can't just spam fire sales to get the baby gun. So, BO1 Shang does belong in really difficult. Richtofen side of Buried. I do think this one is more difficult than Max's side. The Victus quests are definitely the ones I know the least. But yeah, you still have the sharpshooter step from Max's quest, but you also need to go to Round Infinity. You have to keep entering and exiting the maze to input a 4-color code in the correct sequence, which, again, all RNG. It's just a very tedious quest. Shadows of Evil. Okay. Shadows is kind of difficult without Gobblegums, but with Gobblegums, dare I say it's a snooze fest? No, I'm not going to, because this is a Blundell map after all, so there are multiple steps to it. I think it goes here, above Spaceland. Yeah, I think that's right. I like how I have the first 3 BO3 maps all in a row. But Shadows of Evil, all it is basically opening up Pack-a-Punch, getting an upgraded sword, doing 4 lockdowns, and trapping the Shadow Man in the summoning key. That's the whole Easter egg. Now, if you're on 4-player, then you have 1 more step to do, but that's a pretty easy step. It's a really fun step, but it's an easy step. But yeah, after you get the upgraded sword, this Easter egg's a piece of cake. Oh boy, here we go. Voyage of Despair. Everyone's favorite Call of Duty Zombies map. Number 1 on everyone's list. Obviously, everybody knows just how insanely difficult this Easter egg is. This is the Easter egg I was talking about. Might be number 1 over Blood of the Dead. It's definitely number 2 at the very least. The map layout alone for a first-time player will be really confusing. Like, Voyage's map layout isn't that bad when you learn how to use the fast travels and everything, but for a first-time player that doesn't know where the fast travels are and where they lead you to, this map is gonna be really confusing. On top of the fact you have steps like the clock step, and then you have the lockdown step, and then you gotta do the planet step. The planet step will make you hate Voyage if it's your first time playing it. But then you have that boss fight, which is a 5-phase boss fight, in which the first 2 phases you gotta kill a bunch of catalysts and stokers and Blightfathers, and then phases 3, 4, and 5, you have to damage the boss, the Eye of Odin. Which, even with the God setup, for a first time player, this is gonna be really difficult to do. Is it number 1? No, it's not. And the only reason it's not is because of 2 things: the Hellion and the Homunculus. The Hellion's not that good on Blood of the Dead because it's really weak against the Wardens. And there's no Homunculus on Blood of the Dead. The best you have is a really bad Monkey Bomb. So, Blood of the Dead is gonna stay number 1, but Voyage is most likely gonna stay number 2. I don't know what on this list could beat it, but I guess we'll find out. I'll tell you what won't beat it though: Firebase Z. A lot of people that like BO3 and BO4 call this Firebase ZZZZ because they're falling asleep because of just how easy this map actually is. And I'm not even talking about the high rounds here. The Easter egg itself is a snooze fest. Is it easier than Ascension's Easter egg? Yeah, it is. All it is opening Pack-a-Punch, grabbing a couple things around the map, then there's the Mimic step, which it is kind of glitchy, but even then, it is a pretty straightforward step. And then you have the 3 canister challenges, which are all pretty easy to do. And then you have the boss fight, which you can literally complete in 3 seconds. What more can I say? The Frozen Dawn. I've only done this Easter egg like 3 times, but I don't remember it being difficult. It's literally just upgrading the 4 wonder weapons and then doing a boss fight in which you can cheese very easily. You can beat it in like 15, 20, 30 seconds tops and literally have no risk of dying. It's so easy. There is a risk of dying in the next map I'm going to choose though, which is Outbreak from Exo Zombies. Outbreak's going at the very bottom of easy. All it is doing 4 relatively easy things to grab some key cards, and then you gotta get 50 kills and swipe your key card in the scanner, and that's the Easter egg. The world record for this on solo is like 10 minutes or something. It's actually insane. D Machine. Okay. Again, this is gonna go in Snooze Fest, right above Firebase Z. D Machine is slightly harder than Firebase, but not for any good reasons. D Machine is just upgrading the 4 Shockwave variants, which is pretty easy. It's not like upgrading the staffs or anything. There's like 2 steps, and they're all really easy to do. And then you gotta trap a Megaton, and do a couple more really easy steps, and then you have the boss fight, which isn't even a boss fight. It's literally just protect this NPC, and it's literally impossible for him to die. You still have to protect him. Moon on BO1. Now, there's a few differences from BO1 Moon and BO3 Moon. Mainly, though, is the lack of gobblegums, which means you can't use round robin to try and flip for excavator pie really fast. You can't use raindrops or fire sales to get the wave gun and QEDs and all that stuff. So I'm going to put this in tedious. Yeah, I like that. Let's finish off World War II zombies real quick. So first off, we got the casual Final Right quest. I'm going to put this in easy. The Final Right's casual quest is pretty straightforward. They literally tell you exactly what to do in the notebook. Fun fact, this Easter egg is so easy to do, and they literally tell you what to do, that this Easter egg was solved before this game even came out. I'm serious. Someone had an early copy of the game and beat this Easter egg before the game even dropped. That tells you all you need to know, really. The hardcore quest, however, is a little different. It's basically the casual quest, but there's a few more steps, including crafting every Tesla gun, crafting the Red Talon Blade melee weapon, and you have to do a couple more things, like that pin step thingy. I don't remember. You gotta do Morse code in this Easter egg too. I mean, there's like 5 extra steps in this Easter egg compared to the casual quest that they don't tell you how to do. I'm gonna put it right above the Frozen Dawn's quest. And finally, the Shadowed Throne. This map is so hard. You gotta do Morse code, you gotta do a step where you gotta stand still while there's zombies attacking you. And then you have the boss fight, which is inside of a blimp, but there's super sprinting transit super sprinting zombies. It's just, terrible. I'm gonna put it right here, right behind Buried. Origins. Okay. Origins on Black Ops 2, it is pretty difficult for the first time player, especially if you don't know how to build the staffs. Learning how to build and upgrade all 4 staffs, it's gonna take you a long time. But aside from that, you can do a really easy glitch to bypass the robot step that I was talking about when I was talking about BO3 Origins. You can just place a fire staff down 4 times, and that beats the step. No waiting for robots or anything, at least for this step. In the very next step, you gotta wait for robots, and at least on solo, you have to have extremely precise timing to do the rain fire step. But aside from that, it's pretty much the same thing as BO3 Origins. It's just a little more difficult because number 1, lack of gobblegums, and number 2, there's no easy glitch to bypass the robot step. Now, Dead of the Night, this is the definition of tedious. The steps themselves are not difficult whatsoever, but there's so many parts to grab on this map, and there's so many locations for the tally marks on that step and everything that this is a tedious Easter egg. Like I said, the steps themselves are not difficult, but getting up to that point is so annoying for a first-time player. This is definitely one of the Easter eggs you should avoid if you're a first-time player. because it'll just turn you off to Easter eggs as a whole. You gotta check potentially up to 18 spawn locations for the silver bullets. You need 9 things to get the Alistair's Foley for free and fully upgrade it. You need to find at least 2 fire core traps around the map for the Easter egg. I mean, it's just, it goes on and on and on. Tedious, 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 tedious. Great leap forward. Max's side. Let me actually refresh my brain on this real quick. Zelensky quests are so stupid. You literally need a whole ass weapon just to randomly shoot it in a room. Not even need it for something. Oh my god. Yeah, so it's basically the same quest as the Richthofen quest, except for like 2 different steps. This quest is really easy, especially since you have the bank and stuff. Does this go in Snooze Fest? I don't think it does. I'm gonna put it at the very bottom of easy. And Richthofen side, same thing. Instead of making the ball spin and spawn on the lion statues, you gotta use the upgraded ballistic knife in the Buddha room. And I think that's the only difference in these quests. Dire Eyes is one of the maps of all time. What else can I say? Burger Town. Does this go in Tedious? Yeah, it does. It does. Infection is just such a weird Easter egg. The whole Easter egg is just crafting a burger and then launching a rocket. That's the whole Easter egg. Now, there are a couple really tedious steps, like waiting for a specific type of zombie to spawn, and waiting for the alligator trap to do its job properly, and finding 4 out of like 30 different locations of meat around the map. And on top of that, good luck doing this Easter egg when there's a survivor round or something. The Beast from Beyond. Technically, this can load you right into the Mephistopheles boss fight. Technically. But as a first time player, you gotta unlock Director's Cut first, which you won't have. So if I'm not ranking it like that, it's still gonna be really difficult because the boss fight is just so dumb. I'm gonna put it right there behind Buried. Yeah, Beast from Beyond, you can tell they spent like no time on the map. I mean, Lee Ross said that himself. They spent no time on the map itself because they were so fixated on making the perfect super boss fight, which they did nail. But again, that's not going to count for a first-time player. What makes this really difficult is the cryptid boss fight is just like, it's unpredictable. The cryptid's pathing can randomly change. Sometimes the monitors won't be interactable for some reason. And then you have invisible hitboxes with the blue fire at the very end of the boss fight, which can down you wrongfully. It's just a very bad and very unfinished boss fight. Revelations. Now, I said Dead of the Night was the definition of tedious, but I think this one is as well. It's gonna go right behind Dead of the Night. This is the Dead of the Night of BO3. So many parts to grab, so many things to do. You got the Lil Arnie step, which is annoying, the freaking rock step, the egg step, the summoning key step, just so many annoying steps in this Easter egg. Don't do this one until you know what you're doing in zombies. Do not try it. We got the final 5 Easter eggs here, and 3 of them are BO4, so let's work on those real quick. Alpha Omega. This is a pretty easy Easter egg. Alpha Omega, regardless of how you feel about the map, you can't deny it's a really easy Easter egg. The only step that might give you trouble is the Red Novacrawler step, but even then, you can use the teleporters to teleport the Red Novacrawler to make this step a whole lot easier. But aside from that, this Easter egg's pretty straightforward, and the steps themselves are not difficult, so definitely on the easier side of BO4's Easter eggs. Speaking of which, Tagged or Toten. Does this go in Snooze Fest? It does. It does. Tag's Easter egg is really easy, but what makes it even easier is the fact that there's no boss on the map, which means there's only normal zombies, and you know what normal zombies are really weak to? The Hellion. And on top of the Hellion, you have really good wonder weapons in this map, like the Thunder Gun and the Tundra Gun, which are both infinite damage. Especially if you're running PhD with the Hellion or the Tundra Gun. I mean, if you die, it's kind of a skill issue, if I'm gonna be honest. Garage Mob of the Dead. Yes, oh yes. Garage Crovey, my favorite. Dare I say this is easier than Die Rise's Easter egg? I think I do, honestly. Literally all this Easter egg is flying to Pack-a-Punch 3 times and inputting numbers in the number panel and listening to dialogue and killing your friend on the Golden Gate Bridge. That's the whole Easter egg. Very, very, very easy. 9. I'm gonna put it in somewhat difficult for one reason and one reason only. To start this Easter egg, you have to get to round 17. Most of the Easter eggs below it, you can complete by round 17, let alone not being able to start the first step until that point. I don't know what they were thinking. with the Start of Nine's Easter egg. But aside from that, this is a pretty easy quest. I mean, the Raw step can be challenging for first-time players, as well as the Infinite Specialist step. I mean, I still struggle with that step to this day sometimes, so for a first-time player, you will have trouble with that step. And finally, Gorod Krovi. Now, with the help of Gobblegums, this is a very easy quest. But if you don't have Gobblegums, it would go in really difficult. But since we are counting Gobblegums, I'm gonna put it right above Non and somewhat difficult. Gorod Krovi does have a really tedious step in the Valve step or the Chrono step, but besides that, the 6 main challenges that you do are all really easy if you run either Idolize, In Plain Sight, or Undead Man Walking, or even Fear in Headlights. Think about it. The Bomb step, if you're in Idolize and nothing can attack you, or the zombies are all round 1 speed, it makes it really easy. Mangler step, again, when the zombies are all walking, it's a really easy step. Valkyrie step, same thing. The Gerst step, you can literally find him and keep shooting him so he never moves again. And again, if you bring Idolize in the boss fight, it's a really easy boss fight. But without Idolize, again, it would go probably at the top of really difficult. Alright, we're in Photoshop now, and we're gonna add the rest of the Cold War Easter eggs as well as the Vanguard ones, because why not? So, the Legion Easter egg, I think, should go in somewhat difficult. Up until the Silo step, it's a snooze fest. But the Silo step is kinda difficult if you don't know what you're doing, and the Legion fight, if you let the timer get to you, will really end up screwing you over. The boss fight itself, it's not the hardest thing in the world. If you play Cold War Zombies a lot and you want a good challenge, try this Easter egg. Now we have part 2 of the Outbreak Easter egg. This Easter egg's really easy, so I'm gonna put it in Snooze Fest. Mauer der Toten. I wish I could put this in between things because I would put this one like probably right here in between Descent and BO3 Shang. It is a pretty challenging Easter egg, especially by Cold War standards. The steps themselves are kind of challenging, but the boss fight is pretty difficult. Again, especially for Cold War standards. Forsaken, that's going in Snooze Fest. I mean, do I really have to explain this? Really easy Easter egg, really easy boss fight. The world record's like 18 minutes or something. It's insane. And finally, we got Vanguard Zombies. So there is my ranking for every single Easter egg in Call of Duty Zombies from hardest to easiest. If you enjoyed this video, let me know by dropping a like and subscribing if you're new. If you disagree with my list, leave your list down below in the comments. While you're here, you should definitely go watch the rest of my tier lists. And if you don't want that, may I suggest you some useless zombies information or the best Easter egg in every Call of Duty. Thank you all so much for watching, and with that being said, this is Jolts, signing out. Peace!